As we start our Super Bowl discussion here, you've mentioned the script a couple of times. I think the first thing we can put to bed in our Super Bowl discussion is that because the Super Bowl color theory did not come true, I think that means no NFL script, right? Not rigged. I
No,
think you don't think you think it's
they rewrote. They were thrown a curveball and they had to rewrite the script after they changed the Super Bowl logo colors.
Oh yeah,
The curveball being Taylor Swift.
okay. Elaborate, B Scott.
Okay, well, one, um, the NFL has been trying for a long time to get Taylor Swift involved in the Super Bowl in some way, wanting her to perform mostly halftime show, and that has never worked out. Never, most likely will never work out. Then she and Travis get together and they start seeing how much value it has brought to their brand and the Kansas City Chiefs brand. We're talking in a sum of $32.5 million. $32.5 million. Look, it was not that long ago. This Kansas City Chiefs team was completely inept. Their wide receivers could not catch a ball if they were the ocean and Pat Mahomes was throwing a beach ball. It was just they they were awful, awful. This is also a Kansas City Chiefs team that not that long ago lost at home to the Las Vegas Raiders with Aiden O'Connell only throwing 68 yards. I may be off by a couple yards. It was either 66 or 68 yards total. Point being, they ran the ball down Kansas City's throat in Arrowhead. This Kansas City's Chiefs team was cooked. This was everybody's like, okay, you know what? Pat Mahomes just does not have the team around him this year. That's fine. That's fine. And then all of a sudden they get to the playoffs and I'm I'm not surprised with the Miami game. The weather in that game, you didn't have to script that one. That one was basically Miami did not stand a chance. And then I'm not too surprised about the Bills. Maybe a little bit. I was a little bit surprised about that outcome, but both of those teams here recently looked inept. Like they don't belong in the playoffs. The Bills were riding that hot streak. But what really, really makes me believe that there's some sort of pull, maybe not a full script, but a pull going on behind the scenes was this past weekend in Baltimore. That Baltimore Ravens team was clicking on all cylinders, offense, defense, being at home in front of their fans. Everything was lined up perfectly. And the Kansas City Chiefs, who, like I said, looked completely inept not that long ago, come in and make the number one seed and the clear front runner for MVP and Lamar Jackson look absolutely pedestrian. Absolutely pedestrian. I mean, and the play calls were just like odd and not using Lamar Jackson to his full capabilities. And the fact that the NFL assigned the head ref that game, who is always calling things in favor of the road team. A matter of fact, in 48% of the games that he has officiated in, it's been less than 50% of the time in the games that he's officiated in that the home team has won. Less than 50% of the time. That means over 50% of the time, the road team wins. Kansas City was the road team. I'm just saying
Now
I
you
don't, I'm not saying
you
there's a full script, but I'm saying that there is a lot of pull behind the scenes to get the outcomes that they need. You can't tell me that the NFL did not want Taylor Swift at the Super Bowl and the added value that she will bring viewership wise. Other people will be tuning in, which is good. I mean, I'm not saying this is a bad thing. This is good for the NFL. It's reaching a target. It's reaching a wider audience. I'm hearing dads say, "Hey, you know what? People can complain about it all they want, but it's got my daughter who's never cared about football. She's watching it and talking to me about it, and it's great." And so I'm not one of those people that's saying, "Oh, I'll get Taylor Swift on the screen." No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying it's just there's just too many, like,
yeah.
I don't know, too many things pointing to, like, I don't know, because watch, I'll come out and say right now, I'm picking the Kansas City Chiefs to win because I think it would be, the NFL knows it would be huge to have Taylor Swift down on that field during the post game ceremony and her being around the Lombardi trophy in some way, or her and Travis Kelce being together while he's being interviewed, and just the amount of eyes that would tune into that are astronomical.
I thought when you said the word down, I thought you were going to say down on one knee, because I've heard that floated around too.
I think that's also a strong possibility as well. I thought that was going to happen in the AFC Championship celebration, but I'm like, no, it's Super Bowl. It's going to be Super Bowl.
Now, look, when you told me, I don't know if you know, when you told me last week about the referee that favors the road teams, like I watched, when I was watching the AFC Championship game, I was kind of watching extra close because I was waiting for, like, I knew we were going to talk about this week, so talk about this week, so I was like, okay, what's going to be the call that we're going to, like, debate and talk about being like, oh, see, that proves it, or this proves it. And I did not see a call that was like, oh, hey, like, there it is. That's the call that went in the Chiefs' favor when it could have gone in the Ravens' favor. I mean, the Chiefs dominated the Ravens. There was nothing. The refs did not play a factor in the outcome of that game. What played a factor was Zay Flowers fumbling at the end zone, Lamar Jackson throwing into triple coverage, getting picked off. Now, you could say there was maybe some contact with Likely, but I mean, that's also Lamar throwing into triple coverage. But it is what it is on that front. And I'm not gonna lie, the NFL color theory, the logo color theory was the closest that I'd ever gotten to thinking. I don't think it's rigged. It's the closest I've ever been to thinking it, because I was like, that's kind of wild that, like, the Rams and Bengals were in the Super Bowl and the logo was orange and yellow, and the Chiefs and Eagles were in it last year and the logo was green and red, and this year it was purple and red. So it was supposed to be the Ravens and 49ers. Now, somebody said that it was supposed to be the reason why the Chiefs are there is because it was supposed to be the Vikings and before Cousins got hurt. And I was like, the Vikings weren't playing well even before he got hurt, so that doesn't make any sense. But the thought process I have is, it's kind of like what I told you last week off air. Does the NFL want the Chiefs to win, or did the Chiefs beat a Dolphins team that was 1-5 versus playoff opponents this season in one of the coldest games ever? Did the NFL want the Chiefs to win, or did they beat a Bills team that at their bye week in Week 13 was 6-6 and had to rally to make the playoffs? And I know that you said that on both of those two fronts. Or does the NFL just want the Chiefs to win, or did the Chiefs just dominate a Ravens team that couldn't get their offense going after the first possession and kept beating themselves against Lamar Jackson, who historically has not been very good in the playoffs and hasn't turned that corner yet. It had been 3 years since he played a playoff game, or 4 years. I can't even remember the last time he was in a playoff game, because remember last year he was hurt when the Ravens made it against the Bengals. So I don't look at it as being, the NFL playing a hand in it. Yeah, are there some things that kind of are a little fishy here and there? I think a lot of the things are more coincidences than anything else, and we just kind of find a way because it's something that maybe we don't necessarily want to see, and so because it's something we don't necessarily want to see, we find something negative with it. Because let's just call it what it is. B. Scott, I want to officially diagnoose you with Chiefs fatigue. That's what it is. It's Chiefs fatigue. I don't mind. I personally don't mind seeing the Chiefs win. But I think a lot of people are dealing with Chiefs fatigue, and that's fine. Because you talked about the Chiefs being completely inept not too long ago. And I've seen a lot of graphics of Mahomes Mahomes versus Brady now that Mahomes is in his third Super Bowl and that kind of thing, through his age 27 season or whatever it is. So let's look at this. The Chiefs were 11-6 this season. They were 7-2 before their bye week. They went 4-4 down the stretch heading into the postseason. Brady's first Super Bowl run, which was in 2001, his first season when he took over, the Pats started 3-4. They finished 11-5. Now, you you could just completely throw that out because that was his first season. That that was the great team that he had around him. He was literally filling in whatever. Drew Bledsoe comes into the AFC Championship game. So if I count it, but if you want to take that away and say that wasn't really Brady, I'm okay with that. Brady's fourth Super Bowl run, 2014. The Patriots started 2-2. They got blown out by the Chiefs on Monday Night Football. That was when everybody said, because they lost 41-14, and everybody was like, Brady's washed. He's done. This is proof that Brady's time is up. He's done. Whatever. The Patriots finished 12-4 that year, and Brady wins Super Bowl MVP. Brady's sixth Super Bowl run, 2018. His final run with the Pats. They started 1-2. They were 7-3 at the bye week. They went 3-2 in December to finish the year up at 11-5. They ended up, of course, winning the Super Bowl. That was the awful Super Bowl that was the 13-3 year over the Rams. And then Brady's seventh Super Bowl run with the Buccaneers. The Bucs were 7-5 at their bye. They were 7-5, and they rallied to finish 11-5. Brady wins Super Bowl MVP. So what I'm saying is we've seen countless times where a team has rallied and found themselves hoisting the Lombardi at the end of the season. Now, granted, we don't even know if they're going to hoist the Lombardi a couple of Sundays from now, but they've rallied and hoisted the Lombardi behind the arm of their quarterback that at the time is considered the greatest quarterback of their generation. So, I think it's less the Super Bowl or it's less the NFL rigging anything as it is, we need some sort of explanation for how unbelievable it is that we thought, man, the Chiefs aren't going to make it this year, and here it is, the Chiefs are there again. Like I said, I don't mind seeing the Chiefs win. To me, the Chiefs are the Golden State Warriors to me. Up until this year, they were really dynamic and fun to watch offensively. I like Steph, I like Mahomes. I think they're, the faces of their franchise are both very likable. And both franchises hadn't really had too much recent success, or hadn't had a lot of success on the whole. And it's certainly not contending for titles. And I think for me, because the emergence of like Steph Curry happened during the LeBron time when he was torturing the Pacers. Like, that's why I don't hate him as much, because I focused my hate at LeBron. Just like how the emergence of Mahomes came during the Brady time. Well, of course, Brady was more on his way out than anything else, but Brady was still there. So I was like, okay, I still don't like Tom Brady, so I don't really care about Mahomes. Plus, I didn't really think Mahomes was going to be this good. So that also plays into why I like him so much. But so I mean, I don't, like I said, I don't mind seeing them win so much, but I think this is more us needing an explanation for, man, they really did it again, didn't they? Than it is the NFL doing anything to rig or influence anything. Now, granted, like you said, I mean, the numbers of what Taylor Swift and all that stuff brings to the table, that's I can't argue on that, like what the economic stuff, and at the end of the day, it's a business. So I understand that side of it. I'm sure there is some production value to that side of it, but I don't think it goes so far as to let's try to impact the game. I'm sure there's situations where they would like that to happen, where they would like a certain outcome because that would be better. But even in that scenario, wouldn't what you just had said with the Lions and Chiefs having an Eminem Taylor Swift Super Bowl had been the ultimate? If there was ever a rigging to happen, wouldn't the Lions have kept their 24-7 lead and made the Super Bowl?
But what did I tell you off air? The 49ers fullback, you can pronounce his last name.
You check?
Yeah. His wife is the designer of the jacket that Taylor Swift has been wearing to Chiefs games. She's been a designer of jackets for a lot of different celebrities going to NFL games. And she just got licensed to sell her product with the NFL. Big promo time coming up for those coats in a couple weeks. But it's all fun. And you're saying that I'm suffering from
Chiefs fatigue.
I don't really think it's Chiefs fatigue. I think it's more of all the off the field circus that kind of follows the Chiefs. Whether it's the Taylor Swift thing this year, or in the past, it's been Brittany Mahomes and Jackson Mahomes and their TikTok dances on the field on the Super Bowl field, those types of things. You're just like, I think it's more the Jackson Mahomes thing for me rather than anything else. But you're just like, yeah,
Well,
maybe
I
it is.
mean,
I mean, because I do like the Chiefs. Like, look, George Karlaftis. I'm a huge George Karlaftis fan,
got a big
and
sack on
I
Sunday.
mean,
A
going,
couple of them.
going for his second Super Bowl in his career, his second year in the NFL. He is a huge supporter in the community, and the charity that he supports the most is as an impact on me too. He supports Canine Companions for Independence, which is a service dog company that I have received all my service dogs through. A matter of fact, the dog that I had in college when we were at Ball State, Rona, was raised out in Kansas City by the group that George Karlaftis supports. So I have, it's I don't know. I think maybe it's just I'm looking at it too closely, and good teams know how to turn it on at the right time, which we have seen in the past in multiple sports. I mean, look, even in the NBA, LeBron's teams,
Hmm.
they they always come into they how many times has LeBron been the one seed? Very, very few times. They come in, they just get the job done in
Well,
the postseason.
and you
That's just the way the great teams they handle it.
and you said a lot about the drop passes and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, I mean, Kelsey struggled through a lot of the season, but I mean, it was just a season ago that I mean, I know it wasn't in the playoffs, but and it was against the Raiders too. But we're only a year removed from him having like 4 touchdowns in a game, and him like still being the best tight end. So it's not unheard of
Oh,
that
I'm
he
not
would.
talking about. I'm talking more about
Well, I
the
know,
other part of the.
but he was also a part of that. Like he was also part of the drops. Like because look, that's the only part of the Taylor Swift stuff that I haven't liked is the graphics that like with Taylor Swift at the game, Travis Kelsey has these stats, and when she's not at the game, because the only thing I didn't like about it was because like when they showed that stat, it was like the only stat that applied to was the Minnesota game where he missed time because he was hurt. And I was like, that's why the stats are bad, because he missed half the game because he was hurt. Like, that's why he had 2 catches for 18 yards, because he missed half of the game. So, like, what do you mean? So, I mean, and maybe the reason that why I'm not as sick of all the hubbub is because like I do like Patrick Mahomes. I became more of a Patrick Mahomes fan watching the Netflix documentary. I watch I've never actually like sat down and listened to like a ton of episodes of New Heights, but I see their clips all the time.
Oh, yeah.
I watched.
I haven't. Yeah, same, but it's hilarious.
Right, yeah. So like I've Travis Kelsey was like the cornerstone of my fantasy team for a long time. So like I am very much in their corner.
It wasn't that long ago. Tell me if I'm wrong. This may be the Mandela effect going on, that I'm imagining something that never really happened. There was at one point several years ago a reality show like Bachelor-esque.
Yeah. Catching Kelsey. It's like
yes.
I don't know if it's still on Peacock, but like when he first started dating Taylor Swift, like it came back to Peacock. Like
so I'm pretty sure the girl he met on that was his ex. That is very like throwing shade.
Yeah, I think so.
So,
but yeah,
I mean, yeah, New Heights is great. I think more because Jason Kelsey. I feel like I can relate to him more.
Mm-hmm.
The more I watch him, and I'm like, yeah, who's one person you'd love to have a beer with? Jason Kelsey.
Yeah. Only if he takes his shirt off and starts doing all that stuff.
If we're in Buffalo.
Yeah.